Hi everyone, this is Dr. Okafor again, and this will be the second part of my series. And the second part is called Know Your Worth. Yes, I know you hear a lot about know your worth. Yes, know your worth, know your worth, know your worth. There we go again. But quite frankly, you need to know your worth because if you don't know your worth, then it's very easy for somebody to mislead you. So let's go back to my early years in Gardena High School. So, I moved to the United States when I was 15 years old, and I moved with my father and my mother and my siblings. And I started Gardena High School. So, started Gardena High School, and I'm in this new country where I didn't even know anybody. And this is me coming from Nigeria, where I was a boarding school. And I was like, what in God's name? Yes. So essentially, I knew that the first thing I had to do was buckle down and study. I remember going to my guardian's counselor and I said, I always wanted to be a doctor when I was 7 years old. What do I need to do to get into college and essentially be a doctor? How do you even become a doctor in this country? And I remember her telling me, of course, first of all, you had to go to college. Then after college, you had to go to medical school. Then after medical school, then you had to specialize in whatever you wanted to be because being a doctor is not the only thing. You have to choose what aspect or what, as we call it, what specialty of medicine that you had to get into. And then after all that, then you really become a doctor. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, it's going to take about 15 years. I was like, 15 years? And I remember going home and talking to my mother, and I was like, oh my God, it takes 15 years to be a doctor? Like, oh my goodness. And then I remember my mother telling me, well, if it's going to take 15 years, before you know it, you'll be done. So what is the problem? And I went back to my guidance counselor. I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I remember her telling me, are you sure you want to be a doctor? It's going to take a long time. You're not going to be married. You'll have no life. You would do blah, 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 blah. And, looking back, I was like, gosh, like we should not be giving that kind of advice. Of course, it's going to take several years to be a doctor, maybe 11 or 12, not 15. Well, I take that back. It depends on what specialty you want to be. However, kids at that age are so impressionable. I mean, tell them the truth, but you don't have to discourage them because you have plenty of people that get encouraged to be physicians. Yes, it takes them much time to be a physician, but like I mentioned before, you will go through it. The time is going to go through before you know it. And yes, you'll have a life. And yes, you'll have a family. So essentially, I said, you know what? I spoke to my mother and I'm still interested. So she was like, okay, why don't you do XYZ? Why don't you do this classes, etc. is going to help you to get into college. So if you don't know who you are, if you don't have a goal, if you don't know what your capabilities are, it's very easy to get swayed by what you hear. And this is for my young girls, especially. Not to say that we're not talking about my young boys, but yes, my young boys too. But just know that in any profession, it will take time, and you can do it because whoever has done it before, they don't have two heads on their shoulder, they just have one. So if they can do it, why can't you do it? As I mentioned before, after high school, I'll go to Gardner High School, and I was a cashier then. I remember seeing my friends from school coming in after school and hanging out, and I was just there, ding, 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 at that cashier machine. But it all paid off because the discipline really, really helped. Yes, we needed the money then because when we first moved here, it's a new country, we didn't have any finances. In school, yes, I was on the lunch program, which is one of the reasons we should not take that away. I'm going to put that out there because, yes, that lunch program saved me. I remember having a coupon book in my locker. I'll tear out a coupon and go get some food. And that really was how I ate in school. So, and then afterwards, we'll go to Carl's Jr. I'll go to Carl's Jr. and work a shift there and then go home. So, you have to know who you are. You have to know what you're about. It is very easy to hear a lot of discouraging advice out there swaying you from any profession that you want to be in. So it's not even about being just a physician or being a doctor, but if you don't know who you are, even if you want to be an engineer, a teacher, a writer, an artist, whatever the case is, you have to know that you can do this. Yes, you can. Alrighty, thank you.